What was the worst day of your life?
So I was walking across a crosswalk at like 6 p.m. in the winter, and it was raining. It was very dramatic. I looked both ways. I had headphones on. I looked both ways, and unfortunately, there's a hill so small, but somehow, just for like a split second, at the right time and right angle, would block headlights. And on my right, I didn't see anything. On my left, there was a car far away. So I started crossing, and then on my right, I got fucking slammed at like 30 miles an hour, over the speed limit, from what I know. According to the cops, or the police report, I flew 50 feet from where I was standing. I don't remember the impact. I remember seeing the headlights and thinking like, I gotta jump the fuck out of here. I gotta like haul ass. Couldn't do anything, so I just jumped straight up to hopefully roll over the car. I ended up flying and remembering the fucking feeling of like spinning in the air so many times, just seeing ground and sky, and also thinking, um, I gotta be dreaming. I was like, this is a dream. I'm fine. Whatever. It's when something so crazy happens, you just accept like, yeah, this isn't real. I'll survive. And then I hit the floor and I kept rolling and I realized I'm fucking dead. Like that's it for me. I don't remember anything. Well, I do remember some things, but anything in chronological order, can't remember. I feel like it was a second and then the cop got there. He came up to me. I was laying face down on the pavement still. And he came up to me and he's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Daniel." He's like, "Okay, what hurts?" I was like, "My back, my legs, my shoulder, everything hurts." And he's like, "Okay, tell me if this hurts." And he put his fucking hand on my back and pressed down. And I have never felt such a shock of pain in my life. That guy should not have done such a. He was definitely not qualified to do anything like that. I screamed out in pain. I'm pretty sure I was cursing him out. I couldn't remember. The poor guy who found me at first and called the cops, he got an earful from me because I was talking out of my ass. I was like, I don't know, I was just walking, listening to Tyler the Creator. Great album, by the way. I don't know why I kept making jokes to the poor guy, and even to myself, I was thinking like, at least I'm not gonna die a virgin. And then I was like, yeah, that's good enough. I completely accepted I was gonna die. I don't know why. I just completely figured that's it. And then hospital visit. Most of my family works in the hospital, so I got very nice attentiveness from the staff, except the night nurses who, for 5 fractures in my spine, the hospital was the worst of it. 5 fractures in my spine. They gave me Motrin, two pills of Motrin. I had a fracture in my shoulder. My hip was fractured. My ankle bone was bruised, and 3 ligaments were torn. 2 ligaments were torn in my shoulder. My neck had displaced discs, and they fucking gave me 2 Motrins for all of that. It was unnecessarily ignorant because the hospital was full. I got put in the cancer ward, which was sad because I was 16. All around me was just like bald-headed, sick not like 2 years, like 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds, because they considered me a child, obviously. They actually tried telling me to leave the night that it happened. I think it was like 6 hours in the hospital. They tried discharging me. They were like, "Yeah, you're making jokes, so you're fine." Because I kept trying to like laugh about it. Tried getting me out, and they tried getting me in a wheelchair. And one nurse saw me struggling to get in the wheelchair, and she just let everybody have it. And she was just cursing out everyone, telling them that I need to stay longer. I ended up staying for 3 days. That was it.
After that crash, does it affect your life today?
Yeah, I wanted to play football. It was pretty late, but for my last year of high school, I wanted to just do sports. I never really did them. Couldn't do it anymore. I can't, run around with my dogs as much. I can't do anything that I want to without pain. Eventually, I've learned to just weigh the pros and cons. Is it worth having pain for it? Like, if I'm driving my girlfriend home someday and she's fallen asleep, is it worth being that nice guy and carrying her into her house and having all that back pain? Or like, if she's in a crowd, I'm gonna pick her up on my shoulders. Is it worth having the back pain? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no, but I don't like obviously making the decision every day, every moment. Look both ways twice. And also, don't go for any stronger prescription. I never did, and I'm grateful I never did. That was my biggest fear, was getting addicted to something and feeling like I needed it. You need mental fortitude, and you'll get through it. It's just fucking dark and hard.
Coming home from my 15th birthday and then finding out my Great Dane killed my brother's Chihuahua in our kitchen. I am 19. So originally I was with my sister, her fiance, my nephew. We get a call from my brother saying my dog had just killed his dog in our kitchen and there's just blood everywhere. My mood immediately drops. I just couldn't do anything that day, really. I just begged my sister to take me home. She did. It was a very quiet car ride, and then once we walked through that door, I see my brother standing there with something in his arms wrapped around like 2 towels. It was his dog. It was a Chihuahua. Now keep in mind, our ceiling is like maybe 9-10 feet tall. There is still blood on our ceiling because apparently a Great Dane compared to a Chihuahua,
I'm just gonna go up the stairs.
yeah, she basically got used as a chew toy. We're still having to clean that off of the roof 4 years later. Was not the greatest day because I had to walk into my room and on my bed was my Great Dane, looking at me like as if nothing happened, nothing in the world. A lot of conflicting emotions, anger, sadness, frustration, empathy. There was a lot of things that happened in that moment, honestly, that kind of just mixed together. When you lose someone like very important to you in your life, the best thing ever is to try and find a group that will be there for you emotionally and physically, like family, friends, close people that you're with, anyone who you can actually like talk to, because if you don't express how you're feeling in that moment, like all the sadness, the pain, if you don't let that out in a healthy way, it's going to just keep bottling up and up until eventually it reaches a breaking point. It's like, imagine you have a soda can and you aggressively shake it, but you don't do anything with it afterwards. It's gonna just keep getting worse and worse until eventually it blows open. It's why it's good to have people you care about be there for you.
For me, the worst day of my life, and I feel like it's a so far kind of thing. This is not like, oh, it can still get worse kind of thing. And so with it getting worse, it's more so, when is that going to happen? This was before Thanksgiving break, November of last year. So this was, I want to say, the 12th, maybe? It was in between the 7th and the 14th. And to be honest, I had been dealing with it at least for a solid 8 months at that point. And in these 8 months, I had been effectively taking care of myself as best as I could. But it was like, I was completely alone for about 2.5 years at this point. And when I say alone, I don't mean like, oh, this is just me struggling on my own, but there are people nearby that I can reach out. I mean, this is like, I legitimately had no one. I didn't have any friends who I could speak to about this, even at all. I didn't really have friends in general. I don't have family living with me. So there's no one who's like blood related that I can rely on either. I don't have coworkers who really give a fuck about me, mainly because at work, like, I was the guy that did everything, and if something didn't get done, it was almost exclusively because I did not take care of it. So it was already the fact that I was completely isolated from like the rest of everyone else who I was even available to talk to at the time. And I had done self-harm before. I had legitimately cut myself and drew blood like several times before, and just recently, this was like after I had turned 21, so I was like deep in alcohol. I think, if I remember correctly, I think the actual number was that I had had at least 3 shots of whatever alcohol I had bought every single day. Like, I would wake up, I would have a shot just to be able to get ready to go to work, and then I would go to work and I would get worse, and it would suck, and I'd be in pain, and I'd be helpless. And then I would come home and I would drink more. I had to mediate myself a lot. And it took a lot of willpower to not actively be drunk every single day. So I think the only reason why it hasn't been as bad as before is mainly for the fact that I just barely had enough self-control to do that. And every single day I was at work, I was in pain over and over and over again. And it wasn't just like the mental pain that I've been going through alone at home. I was like physically struggling to move at that point. I was physically in pain every single day that I woke up. And so eventually it kind of got to a breaking point where it's like, what the fuck am I going to do with my life? Am I really going to die? Am I really going to choose to kill myself just to escape this kind of shit going on? And the answer to that question in the rest of November through December and January, the answer was yes. And I gotta be honest, there legitimately was a day in January. Because where I live reaches down to -50 Fahrenheit during the winter, which is unbelievably fucking cold. And like the TLDR of it is that -40 degrees kills within 30 minutes. And -50 degrees kills within 10. And I legitimately thought, maybe this should just be it, and I should quit. I didn't, evidently so that I'm still alive. But ever since that point, I had been looking at this gigantic scar that I had left on my arm back in November. And it was gruesome every single time I looked at it. And to be honest, I still do look at this and I think, shit, not only did I survive, and not just like live, survived. I survived. Not only did I survive, but I fucking somehow crawled out of it. It took a lot of like serious introspection and serious thought about like what I was going through. And I really had to decide, how am I going to like actively deal with this? Because if this happens a second time, I know I'm not living. I know I'm not going to survive. It was about that point that I had kind of chosen to like switch over to like doing weed instead of alcohol, which did help a lot. I was asleep a lot more often, so it was a lot more time that I wasn't trying to do anything else to myself. It made me more alone, if that makes sense. Like when I was with people and I was very high, I felt much more reclusive. I felt like I was not welcome in those friend groups. I've had a handful of like these little crisis-esque moments where it's like, how long are they going to tolerate me anymore? How long are they going to manage to keep up with me? How long until I disappoint them? I still feel that from time to time, but it's not nearly as bad. I still specifically look at this scar and I very specifically remember, like, I remember how it feels. I remember the sting that it gave me. I remember the blood that came out. I remember the feeling I was going through. It's very vivid for me. I don't like when I'm in the shower and I'm cleaning up, either to get to work or to go to bed. I look at it and I just fucking recoil. I look down at it and I just have to close my eyes and look away. It really did lead into who I am now. And it's simply for the fact that even if it doesn't mean anything to anyone else, at least they know what I'm going through. At least they know that, hey, there is some shit that's going on. And it also led into the fact of like how open I am, just how much I share. I think the biggest thing that came out of it was how much funnier I got. I know it's kind of a stereotype for like how people who go through trauma end up funnier in the long run, but it was the fact of like, I need people to like me. I need people to not hate me, at least. I need people to at least have a decently good first impression with who I am. And it's worked. This openness, this active sharing I do with people, I don't expect them to do anything with it because I know the best I'm going to get is advice. I'll get opinions, but I'll be getting a lot of opinions. And as long as I get opinions, I'll know how to figure out what they're saying. Every time I think that I don't think I'm going to make it, or that I don't think, oh, I'm unwanted, I remember just how much worse it was, how much worse it could still be, and just how much I'm fighting to get out of that. It's the symbolism of this black line on my arm that keeps me going. Hard for me to say I regretted it, because I really don't. For whatever I feel about it, I mean, shit, at least it's still there. So, and even then, a lot of good has come out of it. It's led into a really good story. It's led into a lot of like good interactions with people. It's led into me being able to meet and interact with new people, hear their kinds of stories. And it makes light of it, you know? And just the fact that it makes light of it is enough for other people to understand that I've come from a very genuine place, not only about myself, but how that dug itself out. I like to think I have a different personality, simply because I managed to live. Having a different personality really makes a big impact on it.
Have you gotten like new like friend groups? Have you gotten like new people around you that you feel more welcomed around? Has that changed at all?
In real life, no, it hasn't. But here on VRChat, it very much has. Because I realize that my social life is not going to be. I'm not going to have a social life in person. In doing so with VRChat, I've come to realize that a lot of the other people who are around me are also very much real people. For however many interactions I have on this game, there's always someone on the other side of that screen who always needs to feel something. It's an emotional level thing inside the human brain, but it's still the fact that, like, what I say to you matters. However minor this influence I have on people is, I still have an influence. And if I can make that influence a good one, that's all I need. That's all I want. As long as you don't hate me, as long as you don't not like me, I'm okay. It's just a matter of, like, you are also a person who also thinks and feels and responds. So I have to treat you like that. I have to treat you exactly like who you are, with kindness and respect. And I gotta show you that I'm listening. And it's simply for the fact that I did not get that. I had to become the person that I needed the most when I needed it. And it's worked. It worked a lot.
So you kind of rely on other people's opinions of you for your happiness?
I do. This is a little thing that a lot of my closest friends don't even know about me. Even if I may not be able to help them, I still want to give them a chance to feel like they're being heard. Just the fact that someone is there and listening and is able to respond to them means they're not invisible. They're not hidden. And that's what they need the most. They need to be seen. They have to be acknowledged. Well, it's not really that they have to, it's that they need to. At that point, it's a necessity. They need someone to see them. Because if someone doesn't, that's it. That's the end of it. The fact that someone saw them and knows that they're a human is a necessity of life. It's how humans lived for so long. It's the fact that people know whether or not they're there. And so it goes back to caveman days. And I thought, as a caveman, if someone was gone, they were either dead or they're incredibly hurt and they need someone to find them. If anyone sees you, just keep looking for that.